6 more weird pregnancies that do actually happen, and I understand from the previous video we didn't have a demonstration in frame, so it was out of the frame. I'm going to repeat that. And also the last section about the chimera, I think it was too complicated. My description or my explanation was a little bit on the other side, so I'm going to make it so simple for you to understand today, such that in case you don't get anything from this video, we're going to start worrying about you. So the issue will not be us, it will be you, and we're going to start worrying about your kids. That was not funny. That was not fair. Anyway, I'm going to start with the first one, which was the one that was out of the frame, the abdominal pregnancy. So that's the one. I'm trying to look for a marker. So what usually happens here is, I so decided to wear the same code so that at least I become a little bit more familiar. And for those who are saying that easy in stories ajaba, I think there's a reason why you're not a medic. Anyway, let's make a sketch of the fallopian tube. What do you say? So this is the ovary. This is the uterus is supposed to be here. And this is the fallopian tube where fertilization is supposed to take place. This is our ovary. Ovulation, this egg is released and it goes all the way. In case there was fertilization, then it happens in between here. So it so happened, by now you understand that there is a space between the ovary and our fallopian tube here. So the egg can mistakenly fall down, and when it falls, it goes to the abdominal cavity. Now, suppose it so happened that you also met your partner and the sperm so decided to come looking for the egg. They didn't find any, but then here they found that there's an opening here. So this cliff, they fall down, they go and find the egg. Coincidentally, it's so rare, but it usually happen. So once this happen, you're going to have this as ectopic pregnancy, but it's happening in the abdominal cavity. This is a high risk pregnancy, should be stopped. So I hope this is clear. Actually, we didn't have so many issues here. The issue was in our second, no, it was the number 6 in the last video. So today it's going to be number 2. Now, this is what we call chimera. You just Google this, it will make it so easy for you because I've seen so many people getting confused. Now, this usually happen. Now, you are pregnant. Yeah? So, you're there. We are assuming you're pregnant. Now, it so happens that you have twins. And the twins you're talking about here are, you're not going to talk about the identical twin today. We're going to talk about the other ones. The ones that don't look like each other. They don't look together. Now, because you have twins, one of the twin so happened to disappear. And guess what? This other one here, the one that is left, will absorb the material or the genetical material from the first one. It means that now, I usually use the word swallowing because now it's will absorb everything and it will become into this other kid here. Now, guess what? The kid who is left here will have genetical material from the other twin. Now, from this here, this twin that we have here, okay, it's now only one because now the other one was swallowed. Suppose that it is swallowed a section of the other twin, and now this kid is born, becomes mature, and then guess what? We have 2 genetical composition within that same individual. Now it's an adult, and now we can be able to reproduce. Suppose the ovaries were the ones that were picked from the twin that was swallowed. It means that now the ovaries belongs to someone else, the twin that was swallowed. So whatever will happen here, after ovulation, the egg that will be released will not be belonging to the lady that will be carrying the whole of that ovary. I'm sure by now we are somewhere. So what will happen here is now the mother will actually be carrying this kid, yes, comfortably, but then genetical composition will not be matching with her. Because now the genetical composition of the egg that was used for fertilization is coming from the person or the twin that was swallowed by this, now the adult that we have now here, because they have 2 genetical composition, they have 2 genetical makeup inside them. It's called chimera. It's very interesting. You can just go and read about this. See stories ajaba. So I hope I'm done with that. I'm not looking forward to explaining that again. But anyway, now we move on. Now this should be our first in this video because the two were repetition from the previous one. Now, you can become pregnant when you're still on your menses. So this is number 3. So in this video, I think we're going to have 8 of them. So number 3, you can become pregnant when you're still on your menses. Guess what? You have a very short period. This usually happens to those people who usually have a very short period of time. So, and they usually have a prolonged period when they're bleeding, when they're getting their menses. So, it will so happen that they're still fertile within the time when they're still... Okay, let me just have a demonstration. It will be easier that way. Let's take, for example, she's a 21-day cycle. So, from day 1 up to 21. Okay. So ovulation should be around date 11. So guess what? From date 1 to here, now like for fertile periods, you remember we talked about we can add +2 +2. So this will be from date 9 to date 13. This is a fertile period. Remember, the longest living sperm can go for 5 days. Okay, let's make it just 4 days. Now, 4 days. Now, this is date 1 when you're getting your menses, and it so happened that maybe you usually take like 5 days. You're getting your the menstrual flow goes for up to 5 days. So this will be date 1 all the way to date 5. You're getting your menses. Now, from this date 5, this is date 5. Now, remember, we have how many? Like, let's talk about 5 days. So the sperms can live for 5 days. If it so happen that you meet your partner on date 5, so the sperms will live all the way up to date 10. And remember, the fertility starts from date 9. So from 9th up to date 13. So meaning that the sperms will be there to fertilize the egg that will be released. So that way you're going to become pregnant and you had unprotected sex during when you are getting your menses. Number 4 is abnormal pregnancy. This is a blighted ovum. This usually happens when the ovum is fertilized but it never grows. So it causes the miscarriage during the first trimester. I think we covered this in another video. Number 5 is molar pregnancy. And usually happen when fertilization took place but there was formation of cysts which are non-cancerous. They grow around the embryo that was formed after fertilization. So the cysts will overgrow and they become so many, so they're going to prevent the attachment of the placenta. Even if there was attachment, it's going to deny the resources to the growing fetus. So it's going to be a high-risk pregnancy. It's going to be terminated. And sometimes it can cause a miscarriage, but then in case it so happened that there was no miscarriage, this is supposed to be removed surgically. Number 6, you can miscarry one of the twins. You have twins, yes. You can miscarry one of them and then you're just left with the other one and they continue. So 2 things can happen. You remember we're talking about vanishing or disappearing twins, where one of the twins will just, okay, we like saying swallowing each other, but then it's absorbed. So there was an issue with the first one, but then let's say it was terminated, but then the other one was surviving and very healthy. So it continued living. So you're going to get the material coming out either out of you, or it will be absorbed by the mother or the embryo. Number 7, you can have multiple births. You have multiple twins, some of which are identical. Okay, now let's go here. And others are not identical. Now, identical twins usually happen when one sperm fertilizes the ovum, and then that ovum splits into 2 and forms 2 identical twins. Now, that's normal. Suppose that during the same period, during the same time of ovulation, you released more than 1 egg. It means that you're going to have another twin that will not be identical because it will be fertilized by a different sperm. But then you're also going to have a twin that will be identical because there was a splitting of the ovum that was fertilized by the same sperm. So you're going to have identical and non-identical twins. So we might have 3 or 4, but some looks like each other, others not. Number 8, you can conceive while still on contraceptives. The common one is when you are having a copper IUD. And I'm sure you've seen those photos, a kid coming out holding that IUD. Some of the photos are not real, they're just placed, but then we have real cases where they came out with that copper IUD in their hands.